And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to DreamHack Open 2015 Valencia. We have finished up the round of 8. We only have 2 semifinals remaining. 4 players left to find out who will go to the grand finals and who will take the title here at DreamHack Valencia. It's a lot of Zergs, guys.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Zergs. It could even be a ZVZ final at this rate unless I think Patience creates a bit of an upset. He's done great so far, but Curious might have an idea of what he's got planned.
You knew that was coming, didn't you? That's why you brought all of your passion and became a panel host for this evening.
Yeah. I was actually just in the Twitch chat. You know, a lot of people with the Z's there for some reason. I just assume they really like Zerg versus Zerg. So it's going to be very interesting times. Very glad, of course, to have you here as our expert. Where did it all go wrong? What's happened to get us here? Where we've had, I feel like a lot of upsets from the big players we've talked about so far. The only one we really discussed earlier on in this tournament was Curious that could make it this far, but none of the other names we really talked about got here.
It's funny because like Korean Zergs, like they can't stop complaining about how imba ZVP is, and they won't stop talking about that. And yet here we are, like Zoo won the Keswa Cup. Here we are today, very likely ZVZ final. I don't know.
This is StarCraft II. Everybody complains that they play the weakest race, let's be honest.
It's true.
You know,
I'm not kidding.
I was just thinking about how I haven't seen a Terran win something in a bit, and I'm just like, you know what? Like, I'm okay with this. Just, you know, that's like the same thing wrong with Razer.
Remember actually in Taipei, like Life got interviewed, and he's like, oh yeah, Zerg's the weakest race. Went on to win the whole tournaments. And Maru, same thing, like he demolished people. And in the winner interview, he's like, oh yeah, Terran is pretty bad, you know, like everybody plays the weakest race. This is StarCraft II, yes.
But seriously, Zerg is the weakest race.
Do we really want to get into this? I mean, we could just pull up those fantasy games again if you really want to. I'll gladly look at those all day. But this next match, right? So we are getting into the potential of at least not having a Zerg in the grand final when we look at our semis, right? Patience is going to be the guy he's the hope for not ZVZ, but he's probably still pissed a lot of people off at this weekend.
Yeah, like, even if we don't want a ZVZ final, do we really want Patience in the final if he's going to do all this Protoss bullshit?
Oh, Wax finally doing his job.
Now, this is the part where
comes out.
And, you know, those of you posting in the chat and the live reaction threads, we want to know, so what is the worst of 2 evils? I guess we're going to find out Protoss Cheese or ZVZ. We do have our next 2 players on the main stage with Smix. Let's hear what they have to say as we go into semifinal number 1.
Thank you very much, Nathanias. I am super stoked to see which one of these players will be the first to head into the grand finals here at DreamHack Valencia. It is Patience and Curious. Patience, first of all, congratulations making it to the top 4. I know you really, really wanted to do so. And earlier when I spoke to you, you actually stated that you wanted a Zerg player to meet in the semifinals, and you got your wish. Curious is a Zerg player. How does that affect your confidence headed into this match? 아까 전에 그 저그 선수를 만나고 싶다고 했는데 진짜 이원표 선수, 저그 선수가 왔어요. 그러니까 자신감 넘치세요?
일단 최근에 연습할 때 저그전 거의 다 이겨서 제가 실수 안 하면 좀 자신 있을 것 같아요.
He says, recently whenever I have practiced, I pretty much have not lost a single game against Zerg players. So I think as long as I don't make any mistakes, I should win. Now, Curious, you kind of stated the opposite. You stated that, first of all, that Protoss is imbalanced, and that because of that, you think that it'll be like a 50-50, but I also know that you must want to reach the grand final so badly, since your last finish at an international tournament was top 4 at IM New York 2013. So, I mean, what do you have to say to Patience before this match?
아까 전에는 그 토스 그 종족이 좀 사기다 이런 말을 했었는데 그래도 결승전 가고 싶은 마음이 엄청 클 거 아니에요. 그래서 이 경기 전에 그 조지현 선수한테 한마디만 해주세요.
사기이기 때문에 반반이라서 결승 갈 수 있을 것 같아요. 네, 그래서 네.
So he says, it's because Protoss is imbalanced that I'm even giving it a 50-50, but I will make it to the finals. So pretty confident words coming up from both of our semifinalists. Players, please shake hands. It's time to find out which one of these two players, Patience or Curious, will be the first one to enter the finals here at DreamHack Valencia. We'll find out very shortly, but before then, let's head back to the desk with Nathanius.
Thank you, Smix. I think the only answer to our question now is we just need someone to bring us a giant feeder of salt. Really, for everyone here.
For you as well.
For me as well.
I think especially you, man.
You know, both players think the other races are imbalanced. we're all super salty about all the cheese, and I mean, I guess that's just how it goes, man.
He was gentle though. He said 50-50, even though it's imbalanced. You know, he could have said 90-10. Like,
Well, he's saying he's that much better.
It's like it would be 100%,
Yeah.
but the imbalance does give you 10%.
I mean, Curious got to the top 4 of the GSL, beating guys like Hero and SOS, and he had a pretty good showing against Rain too. So like, compared to that, he should probably consider Patience an easier opponent, but he's giving a lot of respect to the Protoss.
You have to. I mean, you've got to respect the Protoss players, man.
because why is he giving him a lot of respect?
Because of your favorite phrase, Protoss bullshit.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
That's all that needs to be said. Let's take a closer look at Patience as we get ready to go into our first semifinal here at DreamHack Open Valencia. There is quite a bit on the line, of course. Patience is going to be the guy that is. I actually don't know what that means. I would point it out.
Isn't
But
guy like German for best or something? So like super best?
Patience played in EPS, right, when he lived in Germany. So
Yeah.
This is somehow relevant.
Sherlock, like-
This is somehow relevant.
I gotta say though, like for all the joking we do about like cheesing and stuff like that, like Patience, like last tournament at the last DreamHack, like he showed us some really good like macro games of PvZ, and like we said, like the most surprising thing like a known cheeser can do is play macro and take you off guard that way. So I don't know if this is the series where he's gonna play that way, but I don't think
You're
it's gonna.
the expert. You need to know.
We can't know everything. But I think like I don't think it'll be as all out, all in as it was against Fantasy. I think he'll try and mix it up a bit more this time.
I think like the last thing you want to do against someone like Curious is play a macro
Yeah.
game. I think Patience is going to be aiming to knock this
Actually,
guy out
yeah.
of cheese.
I think Immortal all in every game.
You
of
think like
7
5 games of cannon rushing,
I
Immortal,
I
all
prefer
the
off one. I
rushes.
prefer the one base Immortal in, guys. Okay, can you please?
Well-
can you please stop talking about expanding? It's really getting on my nerves right now.
That NA flavor right there. I don't know if Patience has adopted that just yet, but he's certainly got his own cheeses lined up, I'm sure.
Curious, he's probably been the most reserved as far as any comments he's made. He's pretty much stuck to this, the standard Korean responses that it's like, okay, well, I want to put on good games. We heard that from yesterday. Not throwing too much out, except for, of course, being sure to mention that his race was the weakest. Do we
Like
look for
everybody
anything
else,
crazy? Is he just going to play standard like he's done all tournament long?
Well, all tournament long, everyone who thinks they're their favorite just seems to try to play macro games to their detriment or not.
Yeah, I think he's just going to play the same slow way he's been playing all along, safe and slow. Try and get it to the late game. I'm sure he's going to be very defensive against someone like Patience.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for those of you who are praying that we do not have a ZVZ final, I know there are those of you out there, patience is your last hope. We're going to get into this first semifinal here at DreamHack Open Valencia. Take it away, boys.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. We're going to be jumping into this first game very shortly. It's going to be on Terraform, actually, and I believe that was Patience's first map choice, so it's going to be it's an interesting map choice. It's a pretty decent macro map, I think. Out of all the maps in the map pool, I mean, you've got Dash and Terminal and...
They're all bad, but this is one of the least bad for third base in macro.
Yeah, well,
You know it.
Yeah, it's a fair call. The new map pool we're still getting used to it, and first response as a pro gamer is to dislike it, I think. No one likes change.
Just like everybody plays the weakest race in StarCraft II, every time there's been a new map pool, everybody has complained.
It is. Yeah, it's just the new thing.
It's
to
our
hate.
thing.
Yeah, it's pretty standard.
We're still happy and love the game.
That's why we're here.
Yes. All right, let's jump into the game here. Another PvZ casted by you and me.
Indeed, Todd. I can't wait to get into it. Up here in the top left, the Red Zerg player looking to try and make it to the grand finals. It is Curious. Very safe Zerg player. Down here in the bottom right, the one remaining non-Zerg player in the tournament, he is Patience. Looking to stop this from being a ZVZ Grand Final. Same time, crushing my dreams, Todd. I would love to see Mass Roaches against Mass Roaches in a best-of-5 Grand Finals in DreamHack.
Don't be so selfish, Minglade. Yeah, Patience, I'm pretty sure, you know, we're gonna see something similar here from what we saw earlier versus Stern, where he's gonna be mixing in a lot of different builds, but probably gonna wanna be pretty aggressive most of the time, stay on 2 bases for a pretty long time. And I think he relies a lot on his down to the detail build orders a lot of the time. I remember the first time I saw a game of Patience was when he just had moved to Europe, was playing for Team Alien Invasion back then. And he was doing a War Prism drop with sentries, like doing a little bit of harassment into an Immortal on. That was back then, like some of the best execution I had ever seen of that build.
Okay.
And since then, he's kind of, you know, kept going into the direction, like where he has fairly cheesy builds and very aggressive on 2 bases in particular, but he's just so good at execution.
Yeah, well, he's certainly going to be looking for that sort of style against Curious. Curious is like probably his biggest fear in this kind of game is to drone too much and get caught out. I think it's kind of guaranteed that Patience is going to be trying to cook up something earlier than later. And he's going for that double hatch before pool, so he's starting off nice and greedy, and it's going to be the right choice for what Patience has opened up with.
Actually, I wonder if Patience had gone Forge here, how would he react? Which base would he cannon? Natural or the other base? Because he can't know where it is too at first. So I guess the natural probably is the safe choice. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to create a lot of problems as well, like trying to get down that ramp. You're going to be slightly contained.
Yeah. It's really cool to do this in the first map here by Curious too, because Patience from now, every single map he's going to have to wonder if that can happen again and whether or not he should try for a Forge. And if he does it and then Curious goes for the pull first, he will have done that for nothing. Then.
Yeah, and it would have been like a Forge, Fast, Expand sort of scenario, which is kind of horrible, and Zerg's kind of one of their favorite sort of builds to deal with. So Patience is going to scout the earlier hatch, which was at that 3rd base, finishing up now already. So he knows it is that double hatch before pool.
He saw that there was no gas started as well, which is pretty important, because even though, you know, like some Zergs, they go for double hatch before pull, they add on the gas pretty quickly and next to their pull, sometimes even before it. So in this case, Patience knows that he's going to be safe for a very long time, and Curious is going to be droning quite a bit. He didn't choose to, I don't think did he go for Zealots?
Yeah, he did. He's got one Zealot heading towards that 3rd base, so you're going to try to get some drone damage in nice and early.
Yeah, it's good, I think, to do this.
Overlord scouts it though, so he should have enough Lings out in time for it.
It's very hard to react properly, like get the exact amount of Zerglings, get the Suron, like you need to have a lot of things happen. Patience, fully knowing that this was spotted, just goes and back home. He's pretty happy to do so, and with that Robo in the wall here, I'm wondering whether it's probably going to be a War Prism. You don't really do Immortals, I think, from
I'm
this.
getting that impression. I'd be surprised if it was Immortals this early. You know, it can always be that War Prism, you know, Sentry Harassment like you mentioned earlier into a later Immortal all-in.
On this map, actually, it's much like on many other maps. You can get a War Prism up the ramp and force field the entire main base and snipe it very quickly. How many gateways? That's going to be the question here with this. How many gateways does he get
look at
with
that.
this?
It's going to be an Immortal after all.
Yeah.
Start things off here. Huh.
Getting a single gas added on the natural, right?
Yeah,
Or
it looks
Patience.
like it. Just one gas. There's going to be that 3 gas Immortal all-in. Probably going to throw down a lot of gateways. It's going to be a very Zealot-heavy Immortal all-in. Not enough gas for everything. And Curious is waiting to see what comes out of there.
Does he get a second Immortal behind this or a Prism? Because he can still do a Prism and a little bit of harassment and kind of delay the
Wow,
attack.
this is going to be aggressive with it too, so he's going to give it away.
Second
from the
Immortal.
start. Huh. Well, Curious, it's going to be up to Curious to make the units in time. Roach Warren started.
At the time, the second Immortal is already on the way, which sounds kind of scary.
It does sound scary.
Speed as well, only starting now. This could hit really fast here, but the gateways still haven't started. Speed is 110 seconds. Gateways are 65 seconds. This can hit pretty hard before Curious could be ready. He needs to start on making units right now, I think. 50 drones to 40 probes.
Yeah, if he stops right now, he's making enough Lings as well, so if he can stay on the map with him, maybe try and deny any probes. And he's going to delay it, actually, with this destroying of the destructible rocks. There's that Warp Prism, so it's going to be coming his way. We also see a pretty late Forge behind this, which is kind of interesting because obviously +1 isn't going to really line up with this.
Yeah, he's just going to harass, actually, fully knowing that Curious was going to make only units from there. Patience realizes that an attack will not work, so behind this, he's still making probes, he's getting an Observer, he's going to get a Forge, he can build up his sentry count and then do what I talked about earlier. Do a little bit of War Prism harassment. He's already forced units, he's already achieved something, and then do the follow-up Immortal line, because Curious actually skipped on Lair here for a very long time because he was sure this was going to be an attack here.
Only just starting it now, so he is going to be miles behind getting that Roach speed or even a Hydra Tech or anything like that. And these Immortals can do a lot of damage out of a War Prism, as we already see a couple of Roaches going down, some Lings as well. Oh wow, he's going to probably clean everything up here.
Wow.
That is crazy.
Having quite a bit of fun here.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Oh,
Lings
Lings bridge.
run.
The natural here, there was just a single sentry and the other ones were out of position. I think right now Curious can already kind of start to realize what's up here. He should not be making any single drone. Like 55 is more than enough. He needs to make only units because this mass sentry, look at 3 more gateways being added on. 4 more gateways.
It's going up to
Is
8.
that 8?
Yeah, I think it's 8 gate at this point.
God.
That is a
There'll be
lot
so
of
many.
gateways. Stick all in, and oh man, once again, these Immortals just finding so much damage. So many Roaches going down to this. Roach speed has started, Hydra is down as well.
As much as I think like the Hydra Den long term is a good thing to do, in this game, this is gonna hit so fast and so hard that I'm not sure it's actually good to go for it.
Yeah, I
How
mean,
many sentries is he on? Like 10? Oh, the Mothership Core actually stays at home for photon overcharge here. Usually you need the time warp here.
it's not a bad choice.
He's got so much energy too.
Yeah, that is so many sentries as well. That's so many
10.
force fields. This is a big problem because there's a lot of Immortals out.
10 sentries is when you start warping in Stalkers for the damage. Like the Force Fields and Guardian Shield are already there. Hydra's production has begun. The timing window is running out. Curious gonna buy a little bit of time.
A little bit of time.
He's gonna lose a lot of links though.
Yeah.
Not getting anything.
Not really anything. I guess he got rid of a lot of force fields, which is going to help out a little bit. He got 1 sentry for that.
But maybe buying that time here will help. I'm not sure though. Like looking at his armies, 3 Immortals in there. They're gonna... 4 Immortals. They're gonna slap down these Roaches, man.
Hydras are out now though. They're finally out. They don't have the range upgrade though, which is pretty important against this composition.
Just 5 though.
Just 5. But if they get buffeted enough and do the damage,
the
nice spread.
positioning.
Yeah.
Very good. Force Field's gonna be important here. Here we go. Patience going for it.
Oh, nice force fields go down, but a lot of Hydras and Lings got through, so it's going to trade out a bunch of sentries.
Double time warp is available here. What was the force field? Just above his army.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
Yeah, double time warp's available. He's going to need to work with that here. The Warp Prism staying a little bit behind. Not going to be able to pick up on his Immortals. Just reinforcing here with it.
Hydra range
Here we
finished
go.
now too. That's a pretty scary army. A lot of them get into range. We're going to see the first Immortal go down by the looks of things. And not a bad engagement at all. Going to pull back just in time before the force fields really start to mess up the Zerg's army.
Patience is keeping it real so far here in the semi-finals. Map number 1. 2 base Immortal, all in with 4 Immortals. Still hasn't lost any of them. Kind of running low on energy on some of these sentries, but he's got quite a few force fields to work with, and I do think he has a Guardian Shield.
Yeah.
At least one, no? He's not using any.
not
He's still
just
doing
yet.
okay with the force fields.
Just fine, yeah. Blocking out pretty much half the army. A lot of Hydras up there. But I think he's kind of running dry with the force fields. It's going to be a big problem against this composition.
Curious made that work very well for himself with the position that he took earlier. He forced a lot of force fields, and now when you run out of energy here as Patience, that's when the real trouble begins. Gonna send in some Zealots in the main, try and get some drones. I mean, even if he gets a bunch of drones here, he's still gonna be 50 plus the whole time, so not the biggest of deal here for Curious, who so far he's held this. I really thought that this was gonna be a clear win for Patience. Look at this. Robo-based starts as well as another
man.
Immortal. I think he knows that Curious is too low on the walker count and in gas to go for any kind of Corruptor or Viper transition, so going for Colossus here could be a great idea.
Yeah, that is a great idea. If he can get away from it for now, like he's going to try and buy time with this composition. He's going to pretend to keep the pressure going and pretend it's still an all-in, but if he gets out a few Colossus at this point, he's going to have a great sort of composition for this army.
And it's no upgrades, I think, for the Zerg player in terms of Evo. I don't think...
No, nothing.
Yeah. We have 1-1 on the way now for Patience. He's already got the +1 attack.
Nice counter-attack, but I'm almost going to pop out
He's
time.
killing his own pylon to get out.
Is he?
Stopped, yeah.
Well,
he was for a second, I think.
Nice force fields. Ooh, 1 Immortal nearly going down. So close. He's going to have to get out of here.
Whoa, actually, the chase here is getting a little bit scary.
I think it is.
To kill some Immortals.
Not many force fields left over here.
At what cost, Moonblade?
And what cost? Still a pretty good engagement, I think, for Curious. He's got to get his Hydras around there. Too busy focusing down a pylon. Hydras don't have speed currently, I believe.
Yeah,
so.
they're catching up nicely, though. Immortals have very slow sentries as well. Colossus production has now begun. Army supply 85 for Patience, 108 for Curious, who's definitely not ready here to take on Colossus tech.
He's adding in 2 more gases now at his third base, so maybe he's going to consider, actually his main base, he's going to consider going for, I think, maybe a Spire from here.
I think he has no choice, like going for Vipers.
Yeah, it's simply too late for Vipers.
And I'm guessing Patience is going to be 2 or 3 Colossi timing here. 5 Immortal at 3 Colossi against Roach Hydra. I don't know, Moon.
Yeah, that's going to be very hard engagement, especially on this kind of map with a lot of corridors and hard places to engage into.
He wants to go for Vipers.
Wow, all right. Well, if he can last that long, I don't think he can though, and he's Zealot's doing more damage.
3 more drones die here. That's gas in the main, not even saturated. He's going to try to catch some roaches here. Patience, seemingly knowing that they were there.
Might as well go for that Colossus. No, it's not enough. Simply too much damage coming from Patience. That army's getting scary. 2 base, 2 base is all you need to get a pretty scary death ball, apparently, if you're given enough time.
Yeah. I guess Curious, his only chance is going to be setting up the same kind of concave as we saw from him earlier. Kind of trades, barely survive, and then take 2 Vipers, like get a few of them out.
Yeah.
Even just one, like if he can get a bunch of Roaches, Hydralisk, and Viper, and he abducts the Colossi,
Even
he's
Blinding
probably
Cloud.
still going to die because there's too many Immortals, to be
There's
honest.
too many.
Like
Good Blinding Cloud could be what he needs to really shut it down. And oh, look at this, running into the natural here. A couple of units waiting there. It's going to be a pretty close trade. Getting rid of a couple of sentries, but maybe focusing down that Robo would have been a good idea. Stop the Colossus production in its tracks.
Curious can replace those units, but it's actually going to take a little bit of time. He's already set up there with a good concave.
A lot of force fields now. The sentries have recharged.
I don't think Patience knows about the Hive, but somehow he's going to hit a pretty close to perfect timing here before it finishes and Vipers are there.
Yeah, this is going to be very close. It's going to be very hard for Curious to try and have a decent engagement. Throwing down an empty Time Warp, kind of zone out everything, and here we go.
Oh, those lasers, man.
Those lasers doing a lot to Hydras on the left side there. Oh, nice force fields as well.
The third Colossi is almost there. Sentries are at the front here, so they're going to die very quickly. Again, the concave is what Curious needs here to try and trade as much as possible before reinforcing.
There's a lot of force fields that have gone down. Those sentries are getting pretty low. Pulling the drones this time.
Field. Oh my god, so many Hydralisks on the left-hand side are not shooting. They're stuck behind the gas in the force field. He's just fighting against this right-hand side chunk of army here. Patience with that many Immortals and Colossi. Steamrolls this army of Curious.
Yeah, there's simply not enough left at this point. There's too many Colossus left over, and everything is getting wiped out. And we are going to see Patience take game 1. Keeping the dream alive. No CVZ finals. Very well played there. Really well executed. Keep that pressure on of an all-in and transition slowly into Colossus while Curious is stuck on that Hydra tech.
This was kind of similar to the example I gave earlier with like the Warp Prism harassment into 2 base. I really like the transition, to be honest. It takes extreme discipline to recognize that this isn't going to work, and then he was running out of force field. It's actually so smart if you think about it. He's running out of force field, the attack's not working. He's like, what can I do that will be smart here? Take 2 Colossus, he has no economy, and pull back with my sentries because they're going to regenerate on energy. They're going to have more force fields and Guardian Shield later, and this army is still valuable then.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, it was really up to Curious as well to kind of identify that this could be actually a thing, and it is a common thing to happen, but you got to be so careful because it's either going to be a continued all-in or it's going to be that transition, and it's such a tight thing to kind of realize, and if you make the wrong choice, you just lose either way.
I think if Curious had been on more gases after he held the attack, then he would have been able to go into Spire and Corruptors, but I mean, even then, like, there were so many Immortals on the ground, and they would have been very costly Corruptors, and then he would have had less army too to fight initially.
Right. Yeah, Corruptors is such a hard sort of thing to go into because you are giving up so much supply for something that's not going to do a lot past the Colossus.
Nicely done by Patience.
Oh yeah.
Especially at the initial, making 2 Immortals and making the Zerg scared, fully knowing that he's going to go into a lot of units and then getting a Warp Prism to arise. That was brilliant.
Yeah, that was beautiful play there. Well, we are getting ready for game number 2 on Iron Fortress, guys. We're going to jump in right now and see what Curious can do on his map. Down here in the bottom left, we do have the Protoss player up 1 game. It is Patience. And down here in the bottom right, the blue Zerg player, it is Curious. Getting all in game one, kind of expected. It's a much easier map for him to defend on, but I'm sure we're going to see more aggression from Patience this time around.
Yeah, and remember what we talked about with the double hatch before pull. Now Patience is scouting very quickly here after the initial pylon. Could be seeing a Forge play here out of him definitely. But since he's scouting Curious first, I fully expect Curious to adjust and go for a pull first here and play it safe.
Yeah, certainly so. He's going to see that early probe scout and instantly know that Patience is looking for something a little bit earlier. I wouldn't be surprised if Curious was just going to go for that blind hatch, blind pool anyway. Just play it safe this time around.
Yeah. It's in the first map, Patience really push Curious out of his comfort zone. Definitely, like Curious, he'd love to play against the Protoss that's passive, you know, just take a third base, sits back with his sentries, does a little bit of scouting. In which case, Curious, I mean, he's happy to go into Hive, take more bases, and his late game is, I think, some of the best out of all the Zergs in the world, from what I've seen in the past. All matchups around, too.
Certainly so. Like, yeah, it just does. It's pretty much his kind of game. And look at that, he did go for the hatch first, regardless. Yeah. That probe stayed in main too long, just harassing and
tempting the devil.
Tempting the devil, indeed. And look at that, it's going to be an early Nexus as well from Patience here. Probably going to see a gateway behind this. What do you think you threw down a Forge?
Usually, you're supposed to go for Forge, but now since the pull is so late, he could have actually gone for a gateway, I think.
Look at this, it's going to be the Forge after all here. So Curious is going to have to be a little bit careful.
By throwing down a Forge, he's also saying, I guess, you can't take a very quick third, because if it had been a gateway, as good a reaction as it is to seeing the late pull, Curious could have thrown down that very quick third base. Whereas if he now does, there is cannoning potential. Look at this.
Yeah.
Sees it, he's going to throw down a pylon behind the middle line here.
Not a bad place for it either. You could probably hide in a cannon there, but it looks like he's going to fake it out. Keep Curious paranoid.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that he doesn't go for it, but I guess the hatch was started late enough that if you start cannons now, they're going to finish before.
Yeah.
And then the hatch can be cancelled and made elsewhere. And then if you wait until the hatch has enough hit points for the cannons to finish after, then Lynx will be there, because Paul did start not too late in this game.
That's right. But I mean, look at Curious. He wasn't even phased by it. He was like, well, if you
I think probably because he knows about what I just talked about.
Yeah, probably. And the fact that he already saw like a gateway invested in the front there is like, he's already spending way too many minerals back at home for him to go for another cannon.
I wonder what Patience planning here. Another Robo is definitely one of the things we could be seeing. He's definitely capable of going for Stargate, but it feels like, I don't know, like
Robo
it doesn't
would be
fit
good.
him nearly as much.
Yeah, I like these positions for Robo as well. You know, it's a pretty short rush distance. He was going to go for that kind of style again.
He's going to need more than 10 centuries to force field on this map, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That wine.
That's certainly true. This map is a lot more wider. So far, not choosing any tech. Cybercore about to finish up. He's got 200 gas.
As a Zerg player, what do you think is one of the better ways to go about playing against somebody like Patience? Should you scout a lot, try to realize what you're up against ASAP
Yeah,
so that you
scout
can
a
react?
lot. Make sure that Roachborn is out in time, and just be very careful of where probes are on the map if there's any pylons nearby.
Yeah. But since he's able to transition so well when he knows that you know what's happening, do you need to scout throughout the entire game?
Yeah,
like a lot?
you got to keep an overload near his base so you can like fly in at times again and see if that bay is going down, for instance. And it is going to be the Robo facility. Too far. All right, he's going to throw down 2 gases this time as well.
Wouldn't be surprised if, I mean, with this position as well, like I remember seeing many of these scenarios here on various maps where you fly War Prism in the main with sentries and you try to force field it and reinforce there. Definitely suggestive here that we could be seeing something like that in these positions. The thing is, most Zergs know how to look out for it and know how to defend and, you know, be ready. They know about that possibility. Like there was a time where it was like so new that everyone was like completely out of position and just kind of died against it.
Absolutely. And this overload's going to get the scout off. See what this Robo is going to be making in the end. Actually, a couple of gateways going down first. And nothing being made from the Robo.
Should have made an observer. That's like starting the cloak as the
Yeah, exactly. You might as well. And it's going to be that War Prism now that he knows the Overlord's going to die before it finishes.
He should have made an observer, and then when it gets scouted, or when the Overlord dies, he cancels it, drops down 7 gates, and then starts the War Prism. That's hilarious, actually.
I'm sure we're going to see that at some point in this series. I definitely put that on the cards.
You think he might add a lot more gateways here?
I'm not
Actually,
sure.
he's getting the +1. That would make sense, I think.
The +1 would make sense, but let's see. Maybe he wants to open up with a little bit of harassment, and it looks like it might be the Blink Stalker follow-up. I'd be very surprised if we see him go to a third base, but maybe he can make it work with this harassment.
I think he might go for a third base.
Such a hard sort of map to do that on, though. It's so hard to defend, and Zerg's waiting to scout it out. Here we go, the War Prism's coming. You know, still a little while away from +1.
Curious spots it immediately here. Still, a third Nexus like this doesn't always necessarily mean third base, and in this case, Curious wants to make sure he doesn't, because he's getting a bunch of links, he's moving across the map. I think he's gonna maybe try and get a cancel here, but Speed's very far away from finishing, and Overlord gets killed.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a slowing sort of cancel here. There's not really many units out yet. +1's still not finished, so the Link's gonna have a little bit more time.
Yeah, +1 finishing here and having 4 gateways. This should be an easy defense here for Patience. If he walks in Zealots immediately, these gateways might be on cooldown though.
There's only a couple so far.
Oh, he cancels immediately.
Wow,
what?
he just simply cancels it. That's interesting.
I think he could have defended.
Yeah, well, I guess he just gives it up. He's going to trade out with these Zealots. He's going to kill that probe, get out with a bunch of Lings, and it's a good delay.
He started +2 and an Immortal.
I kind of think this might be a Blink Stalker Immortal follow-up.
Yeah.
It's going to be that empty third or no third at all. So many sentries already out.
The Hydralisks are gonna start being made pretty early on in this game. The economy of Curious much better than in the previous game by 5 drones, 60 as opposed to the 55 he had last time. Surrounding an Immortal and here and sniping it with the Lynx.
Yeah, that is huge as well.
Big deal. And Patience, he wants to be aggressive, but he's still starting a third Nexus. I think he should quickly realize that this is just not gonna work, and he has to be the one playing defensive. And I'm starting to wonder how aggressive Curious wants to get with this. Look at this, he's rallying Hydralisks across the map here.
Yeah, he's made a lot of Hydras and a lot of Lings to follow up. The range and +1 attack is nearly finished as well. And look at this, Hydras and a Queen waiting for this War Prism. It's not paying attention, it's gonna go down for free.
Wow.
Big force field wall. Actually very heavy investment there. But
it's going around
from behind as well.
There isn't enough Zealots at the front to really tank or even Stalkers to do damage. Immortal's not the greatest unit against Hydralis.
No.
This one's gonna go down very quickly, and Curious in map number 2 is not messing around.
No, he's looking completely dominant this time around. He's chosen the right build, the right unit composition. It's a very good map for Curious. Certainly his pick.
And just gonna sit there and spit on everything that walks by.
Spit on everything and wait for those Lings to buffer. Or just go for, I guess, the natural.
Oh, if he gets the Forge.
That's an important kill. Stopping that +2 from finishing. It's gonna make things a lot easier for Curious here.
I think Patience is about to go for the fight here. He's gonna sandwich that, but he's taking his sweet time. He knows that reinforcement could be coming into Forge. He's gonna be sniped. +2 is denied. 3 more gateways going down here. Patience is probably getting desperate by now. He has Blink on the way, remember. And I think he might just go for an all-in, but he's actually the one being attacked.
Yeah, I didn't know if he actually has enough for an all-in at this point. The pressure keeps applying from Curious.
Oh, the Nexus.
Ramp. Yeah,
taking so much damage. He tried to go down the ramp, but there was more Hydralisks down there.
I kind of think this is maybe a bit of a mistaken overcommitment
from
Curious.
Immortals. They couldn't go down and attack, and the Nexus is gonna die. What is happening?
I guess it goes down. I thought that from behind, maybe these Hydras would be caught out a little bit too much as well, but they're going to be pulling the probes now, trying to wipe out this army. Everything is going down. GG. Really nicely done from Curious. Playing the map strength. You know, it's so hard to take a third base, and I was very surprised that Patience was going for that third.
These Hydras, man. Even better than Bio to snipe Nexus.
Apparently, if they're left alone, I mean, they are pretty fragile. I mean, they don't have many backs above them, but still enough.
True walks in here.
True needs to come help his buddy out.
Even though he lost to Patience earlier, he's there to give some advice.
That's a beautiful thing.
That's a real bro right there.
That's a real bro right there.
If I lost to you, man, I'd be long gone and in the pool right now. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'd be getting drunk right now, I think.
If you lost to me.
Yeah. Well, I'd be okay with it. I'd still watch you play, man. I'd be like, well, I'd hope the guy that beats me wins the tournament, right? Then you feel a little bit better.
Guess.
That's like the only redeeming thing. But if he
loses, one of those guys.
Yeah, if he loses in the next round, then it's like, well, that was crap. You know.
So you're not a hater, because the real haters, they hope that the guy that beats them will lose in the next round.
No, that's too much. I feel like I want some pride behind that. You know, I want to be okay because the guy that beats me wins the tournament. So it's like, well, you know, he was on his A game that time around. It makes sense.
It's good. You're a lover, not a hater. I always knew
I like
it's-
to think so.
It's confirmed now. Moonlight Madness, our next map here between these two.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. This was certainly Patient's choice, this map. Pretty tricky map as well. I feel like mutas do pretty well on this one. It is pretty hard to defend all three bases because they are so
Yeah.
split up.
But maybe Patience has no intention of letting it get this far. So far, he's been trying a lot of two base. Now, he did attempt the third Nexus, but he was, I guess, emphasizing a lot on the aggression on the initial two bases, which in this game did absolutely nothing.
No, much harder on that kind of map as well. He didn't really find anything. But yeah, I don't see Patience really going for three base. Maybe he will, but I feel like he's going to be aggressive once again. Maybe even War Prism play again.
It would make sense, I guess. Like if he takes the natural very close to him and goes for another Immortal. Better map for Force Fields, that's for sure.
Certainly so. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's jump into it here.
All right. Game number 3, Moonlight Madness. In the top right of the map, we do have the Protoss player winning last game. It is Patience. Actually, lost last game, third. I lied.
Cool. You can see the score.
Down here as well, we do have the Zerg player in blue. He is Curious.
It's really hard to cast these two and not use the words patience and curious.
I know. It's actually...
As like a
I
proper
use
word, not as
Curious a lot as well,
Yeah.
like when I cast and say stuff. And I also say True a lot, which was tricky if Curious and True played. You know, that would make things very difficult.
But Patience, by the look of things, gonna go for yet another pylon down the ramp. Is it time for attempt number 2 here? Or actually, I guess he didn't really go Forge last game. He
No.
might have been planning to do it, but then he saw the pull first. I think he was planning to go Forge, saw the pull first, and then went Nexus instead.
Yeah, it seems like that. This time around, though, Curious is going to be the one sending out a drone scout
Yeah.
early.
Is he gonna do the build where like you do the indoors hatchery and the
Oh,
other
yeah.
expansion?
You know, he could very well do that. There's that Forge nice and early, so he is going to be looking for it. He's going to run into a drone there. And Curious is going to be happy to scout this one. What is Curious going to go for next? Just going to go for that pool. Going to scout out the main base of Patience.
I see that there's, well, I mean, there's nothing to see, to be honest. He already saw the Forge. It's not like Polo's
Yeah.
gonna go for a gateway in the main or something with another
That'd
pylon
be pretty
already.
sick, man. You know, Zealot, bring
Sick
back the
mind
Zealot,
game.
Zealot Cannon Rush.
There's like a proxy happening right now, yet he has a pylon and a Forge in his wall back home.
These things can happen, and Patience is going to scout out the main, scout out the natural, be like, well, he scouted me out early, so I can't really get anything done here. And looks like Curious is going to take that back base first. And they're going to take the front one and send 2 drones out, just in case it was blocked.
Yeah, interesting. Curious definitely wanting to play, more of a standard game. He's going to be the one trying to defend most of the time everything that's being thrown at him at Patience. Are we going to see a single standard, more passive game and macro from Patience?
It would be nice if he threw that out. I at least go to 3 bases and then go all in with like Blink Stalker Sentry or something. Something like Potting would do, I'd like to see, just to change things up a bit. And it makes sense for the map as
The
well.
thing is, if you do that, I feel like you have to sell the story here and there that you want to be aggressive, but then you take that base and play super greedy to pull ahead. Because if you just, do the standard macro, maybe even a little bit greedy, I don't think Curious will care at all, and like he will be in a good enough position himself to go comfortably into the mid to late game.
Patience can really sell that aggression point there,
Yeah.
constantly. He's never looking like he's going to sit back and macro. Usually looks like he wants to do some sort of 2-base all-in.
I think if he was to play, do a little bit of War Prism harassment with some sentries, and then went for like kind of like in the previous game, to be honest, but just better execution. Go for the third base, +2 and blink and all that. Like Iron Fortress is just so difficult to take a third base on that
Yeah.
it actually surprises me that he wanted to go for that. If he was to do that on this map, I think he'd do a lot better.
Yeah, it'd be much safer. It'd be much harder for Curious to do anything on this map with the Hydroling timing. Much harder to try and get to that third base as well. But
Still no gas here by Curious.
yeah, he's playing nice and greedy here.
How late? What's the latest you can take the gases at?
Against a Forge like this, around like the 6-minute mark's not too bad.
Okay.
You get double at 6 around in the natural or something, and you'd be all right for pretty much anything that can come your way.
Look at that cheeky Stargate. Curious, I have to say, with his first two overlords, so far he spotted every single, robo and stuff that there was to see.
I think he might scatter it again with that top overlord if he chooses to go right.
I fully expect him to be able to see that Stargate here, and probably not even to lose his overlord up until there is either Phoenix or Void Ray made, which should be an Oracle first, by the way.
It should be an Oracle.
Unless Patience is like going full old school, Phoenix, third base, Colossus, Blink.
That'd be fun as well.
If he wants to lose, yeah.
That is true too. But the Oracle would make sense for a third base if he wants to fish for that. It's going to help out defend against any sort of early Ling play. Do you see those two gases finally go down for Curious? Looks like it was around that 6-minute mark. So just sticking to the standard here. Just got to be very careful of what Patience might have planned.
Yeah. 43 drones to 35 probes. That's actually... He's playing Phoenix?
Oh, he's going Phoenix. I guess he got scattered out by the Overlord, so he's like, well, it's never going to work now.
I feel like the difference in walkers is supposed to be made later. Patience is cutting probes. He's not supposed to be on only 37. I think he cut for sometimes second Stargates.
Oh, okay.
Boy.
Well, this is...
Hashtag Roddy build.
Is that the Roddy build as well?
Yeah.
Two
Phoenix
Stargates?
is Dark Templars.
Oh, you think Dark Templar behind this? I think it's probably just double Phoenix into a normal game.
Or maybe usually, like if you go for this, you get charged with it and play charge load High Templar. But
I like that actually.
Maybe Patience, much like Classic, he's been watching Roddy stream. He's actually secretly a subscriber, and he took notes.
Probably, man. Does Roddy send out a replay pack?
I think so.
Yeah, well, there you go. He's got the download, and he's going to go for that double Phoenix build, and he can really catch them off guard. I'm sure that's the last thing Curious will be expecting on this kind of map. Does make sense with the map though. I mean, Mutas are very powerful. It's very hard to defend all the 3 bases.
Lair didn't start yet, and he's double Evo. If Curious actually starts 1-1 before Lair, any kind of anti-Phoenix, I mean, other than Spores and Queens, I mean by that, like Hydralisk and Infestors are going to be so late that those Phoenixes, they're going to be able to do a ton of damage. Look at this. He wants to counter that with Queens so far. I don't think he realizes that very soon there's going to be a crazy amount of Phoenixes flying around picking up these units.
But you know what? I do like 1-1 Lings against this. I think it's a great choice because the Phoenix are going to have a lot harder time dealing with that. The Lings are obviously going to have a lot more map presence.
But do you think he's going to be able to hold on until then and not take too much damage?
So long as he makes enough spores. Like if he's going to make a lot of spores and maybe go into Infestors behind this and then probably some sort of anti-air like Hydras, he'd be sort of a great place because he's going to be able to save so much gas going Lings and Queens by the looks of things as defense.
Roadshorn's going down. I'm sure that's going to make you happy.
Yeah, it makes me very happy. Defensive bridge play, something True didn't have when he was up against this kind of player.
The Phoenixes, the hidden ones, they are rejoining these, and those Queens, they're going to start dying here very soon, transfusing one of the Overlords.
Yeah.
Curious has no clue right now. He's about to, though.
He knows now. He's like, okay, it was double Stargate. I got to get behind my base. I got to get where the spores are. Couple Queens, 3 Queens getting caught out here, and they're going to go down for free.
He can actually fly into like an area where there is only one spore shooting and pick off a lot of drones if he wants to.
Yeah, he needs to be so careful where he puts his units here. And the Phoenix are just going to ignore them and kill all the Queens at that natural start, working on the Overlords as well. Beautiful micro, pulling out the weak ones.
Yeah, not quite supply blocking Curious, but pretty close to it. That third base is exposed though. A lot of Links are there, and the cannon is not up just yet.
Not yet.
Oh, they don't have 1-1 though.
Yeah,
the Links.
not yet, but neither +1 either.
Oh yeah, he doesn't.
So still a little caught out here. Looks like everything's going to get wiped out though. That cannon finishes up, so it's going to help out a lot. More and more Links coming across the map. 1-1 getting close to finishing.
Patience behind this, heading on obviously these gateways
man, look at
his
this.
other base, but he's getting Blink.
Nice wall of Zealots warping in there as well. Oh, now the upgrades are finished. 1-1 is done. These Zealots are going to go down pretty quick.
Photon of a charge for 6 Links.
Got to do what you got to do. More
Protoss
Links.
got to do what a Protoss got to do.
Yeah. Well, look at this. The main base is so exposed because you can just run by the third into the main.
Oh, he's going to go into the natural here, I think. Oh, if he did, it would be brilliant. I think there is only 1 cannon. Probes start dying left and right here.
Zealots are trading very inefficiently as well. 2 Links have found a pylon at the front that doesn't get protected by this cannon.
Patience needs to wall off that third base somehow.
Yeah, he needs to throw down a bunch of pylons or a couple
Those
of gateways.
Phoenixes are doing nothing right now because the Links are keeping him busy. Only 4 probes have died though. I don't think it's enough.
No, but it looks like he's going to get to work on the natural here. And now this natural is very exposed. I think he's got one more photon overcharge. The main is going to run out soon, though.
There's always one more.
There's always one more, but now there is none. Main base. Pretty exposed, there are a lot of zealots. I mean, if Curious keeps this up, he's going to find damage eventually. It's not really, it's not like he's stabilizing and making the right army.
Look
to
at
deal
how
with
much
it.
gas he got. +1 Zerg flare attacks on the way, Infestation Pit as well here. He can basically pick how he wants to counter these Phoenixes. But I mean, there's so many of them that I'm not sure Corruptors are a good idea, because even if you kill the Phoenixes, then what do you do after? You're up against Blink Stalkers, so
Yeah.
not just going Festers.
Yeah, I think Infestors are the right choice. Maybe some Hydras behind that as well. He's still
Hive.
adding Queens.
Goes for Hive.
Going for Hive. And Pathogens lands in 2-2, so it's not a bad choice all in all. I mean, he can go into Ultras as well. If he gets out enough Queens, Infestors, and keeps the upgrades going for the melee and
I think
Carapace.
Patience might go for an attack. He's got a lot of gateways, +2. He's on the way. Has 6 gates here to work with. And already having 2 Archons against mostly Lynx.
Yeah, that's going to be doing very well.
Yeah, even if there is Queens or Hydras behind, he can pick them up and kill them. So he's basically Curious going to rely a lot on Lynx on the ground.
Yeah, all these counterattacks are doing a lot of work, and now we are seeing 7 Infestors be made. So Fungus could get to work as well. Maybe he needs a few more Spine Crawlers, though, if he really wants to defend
4
against
more
the style.
gates.
Wow. He's going to go for that 3-base all-in that we've been thinking about.
Oh, and a lot of Lynx are being thrown away here. Patience actually ahead in supply here right now. Phoenix is still flying around across the map. It's going to be Infestor time here real soon, so he's going to need to be careful not to lose this for free. Actually, if he did, I guess the ground army here of Patience behind this could kind of steamroll. Charge started. He's got some Templars. Does he go for Storm or Archons here?
Looks like Storm. Storm's a choice here. We're even seeing Bailings being invested in, and Roaches are starting to be made to help out with this army. I like that a lot. He really needs some Roaches.
I think Curious realizes that this could be a lot of charge loss and Archons moving across the map, and the thing is, there is not many sentries, so going for Banelings, if he gets some good detonations, he gets rid of a lot of that army, he's going to be able to do okay in the fight after that.
Yeah, but Storm as well. If that good Storm goes on Banelings, they're just gone. So he's got to be so careful with positioning. Maybe we can get a Fungal or 2 on the Templars as well. It's going to help out.
How's he going to reinforce, though? I don't think there's any Pylon across the map here.
It's pretty far away.
Starts the 4th base, okay. A little bit surprising. Out of Patience, I definitely expected an attack here. I think upon completing Storm and getting close to maxing out, he's definitely going to want to be attacking. Already moving across the map here right now. The Ultralis Cavern, he needs that. I think Curious needs that, because even if he gets Roaches right now, there's just so much Protoss with Storm as well that it's going to be too hard for him to win the fight. And they're going to take out that base. 3-base Protoss against 4-base Protoss against 3-base Zerg. It's good night.
It's good night. But, if he does get to Ultras, he's going to have a pretty powerful composition to go for a big attack.
Yeah.
Because
There is
that
no
army-
Immortal, actually.
There is an Immortal?
No, there's none.
There is none, and that's a big problem. That army is definitely not fit to fight Ultras and Fungal and that many Queens. So Curious is going for that scary army, but it's about getting there safely. 5 Ultras now on the way.
Is he with the Mothership Core, by the way? Because if he gets Fungal here... Yeah, okay, so...
So that would be
can at least
game
get
over, man.
Yeah, if you lose this entire army, just getting Fungal and lose everything. The thing is, Curious, even though he's kind of stuck on 3 bases... Oh, he actually Fungal for Hallucination. Even though he's only on 3 bases against 4, he still has that Hive Tech going for him, and he can still play the very late game, keep on expanding from there and play the Viper, Blinding Cloud Fungal, composition, with which, even in the very late game, as long as you're maxed out against maxed out, you can always win if you take a good
if he
fight.
gets some big Fungals off here, that's going to make a lot of difference as well. Only getting 3 so far. They're going to go
I'm
down.
not sure this is a good idea, actually, because these Phoenixes in a fight, they're not going to be super relevant. Whereas now, if he kills them, he uses energy from the Infestors. He might get attacked after and killed.
But he can pick up the Infestors or the Queens to stop them from transfusing the Ultras. So I think there's always a place for them. And later on, he can go for a transition to air, which could be a big problem. I'd love to see Curious prepare for maybe Broodlords at some point as well.
Yeah.
So that would be so powerful against what we see from Patience so far.
Kind of feels like Curious has those too many Roaches. Definitely should be looking to try and sack some of these.
Yeah, I think they were kind of like emergency Roaches. He was so worried that the attack would be coming that he's like, I have to make something that's going to help out.
Patience fully realizing that they are Ultras. He's going to respect this army. Pull back, and I don't think Curious can attack into that choke here.
No, he's got to be so careful. A lot of transfuses though, so we can afford that. And look at this. The power of this map, it's so hard to defend from 2 different sides. Oh, a big attack happening at the 4th base. Same time, those Roaches getting into the natural here.
Oh, he's going to get Fungal big time here.
Big Fungals, but he's got to wait for these Queens. They're so far behind.
Oh, these Fungals hit hard here. The Colossus walking into this army here and dying very quickly.
Oh, the transfuses need to be on point. Oh, these Ultras are just going to go down. So much damage. A lot of Archons left over, but all the Stalkers have been cleaned up at this point.
Yeah, Patience is trying to hold on here at this point. Both players with so much minerals. Double immortal production behind this. More
It's just
Ultras
too late.
being made.
He's identified this way too late. He's going to lose his 4th base for it. While that's all happening, the Ultras were tying up a lot as well.
Yeah, that 4th base here going down. Curious needed that. He's got his own 4th base in the meantime, which he started elsewhere than where he had originally made it. The Phoenix is trying to come in and help, but Twins are pretty good units, Moon.
They are pretty damn good units, especially if they have energy. And look at that Remax coming up from Curious. He's making 8 more Ultralists and 42 more Zerglings, trying to overwhelm this 4th base here.
Stalkers are pretty good too.
Stalkers are good, and Immortals are even better against this kind of composition.
Can he save the Nexus? I don't think so. The Ultras were to attack it, but right now they're fighting the Stalkers. The Phoenixes have picked up pretty much everything. Immortals getting in there. One of those is gonna die. Some of the Stalkers not attacking here.
Oh, so many more coming up though. So many more Ultras and Lings. It's going to be so hard to hold on, and it's going to go down in just a moment.
And Patience has spent all of his bank. He's only on 110 supply. Curious, pretty close to maxed out here. Hitting all of his injects, reinforcing with Zerglings and Ultras.
Yeah, this is an absolute nightmare for Patience. He identified way too late that Ultras are on the map. He never had the right amount of Immortals for it.
He's whopping in Stalkers. You don't need Stalkers against this. You need to max out with Immortals, Archons, and
I think he needs
I guess some
Archons
Zealots.
more than anything else. Like, even Zealots at this point against
Kill the
Ultras
Rocks.
like this. Killing the Rocks would be beautiful right now too, but Lings are going to get a 6th round on the Immortals. GG. Really nicely played from Curious. Looked like he was getting behind there, staying on equal bases, but his composition was just way too superior.
Some pretty good moves here once again by Patience, but Curious on Hive Tech, very, very hard to beat this guy.
Yeah. If you let him get to that stage of the game, it gets a lot harder because that's exactly where Curious wants to be. Patience really had to do the damage early. He showed it once before in game 1. He really got the job done. And that was Patience map. It was his 2nd map choice in this pool. And next we're going to be going to Coda by the looks of things. Not a bad map for Curious either. I mean, there's still a lot of all-in potential. A lot of 2-base sort of play can happen on this map.
Not a bad map for 2-base Immortals, if you ask me.
Maybe. I like it. I think he needs to do something like that at least. He's going to have a hard time against Curious in that late game again.
Honestly, I kind of like how Patience, played it early on, but you can tell, like, from how it went, once he saw the Ultras, that he's really not used of playing this late game with 4 bases.
He was certainly out of his element, right? He's like, wait, this game's gone past 10 minutes, so something's going on.
He saw Ultras, and his reflex was to start 2 Colossi with Thermal Lens, and these guys, they walked into the Zerg army without attacking, and they got taken down. If he had made Immortals immediately, I think he would have been able to defend a lot better against this, because I don't even think that... Hey, I love you guys! I do think that going for Ultras in this kind of attack a lot of the time is not good. Like, you're supposed to lose everything. The buildings are going to block you. There was the photon overcharge too, so the Nexus was tanking.
SimCity is going to cause problems, and I mean, it all depends on if Immortals are out in the map, right? Like, that's actually the biggest thing of all. Like, it's going to be so hard for Ultras to attack into that sort of army. But he just didn't have that army. He didn't have the Archons in place. He didn't have the Immortals in place. It is a hard map as well, mind you, to kind of defend 2 fronts from, because they're pretty much on opposite sides of this big pathway. So it creates a lot of problems. But,
the Fungals were good.
The Fungals were
that
good
is
as
for
well.
sure.
But it looks like we are going to be jumping into game number 4 here on Coda, so let's do it. Down here in the bottom right, player has to win 2 games in a row or he's going to be knocked out. It is Patience. And the Zerg player looking to close this out with 1 more win. In the top left, he is Curious.
You know why Patience lost that last game? Because he's not, in fact, a sub to Roddy's channel. And he didn't go for DTs after the Phoenixes.
That must have been it.
Roddy would have won that game.
He was shaking his head. I'm sure he's watching. He couldn't believe it. He's going to have to go back and teach this guy how it's done.
Curious being up 2-1 now. Does he just continue playing the same way on this map?
I think he just has to play careful. I think he has to try for 3 base again.
Is there anything special that he could try that he'd have, like, a good chance of success with?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's such a hard thing to fight against these kind of aggressive Protosses. You really just have to try and absorb whatever's coming your way and just be on top of the transitional period. So I think if Curious just plays the same way, plays careful, but I mean, look at this. He's going to actually be the one that's going to be aggressive here. 14-14.
Wow.
Make that 13-13.
Which, against a Forge like this, is not good, right?
It shouldn't be good because the Probe's going to scout it out and he's going to have a cannon down in time.
Yeah.
Maybe if he's going to go for a Bailing Bust or something, that could work. I mean, that pylon is blocking the front.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's like one of those things, like that we talked about, where it hasn't been done in so long, nobody even remembers it exists anymore. And then the moment you remember is, I guess, when your wall's going down and you lost the game already.
Exactly. That ancient tech can come back and bite you if you're not thinking about every possibility. And he's going to scout it early. He's going to see, whoa, you're going gas pool here. Huh. He's going to want to stick around at least for after 100 gas as well. See if he's going to commit to more mining. And that might just mean that Bailing Nest will go down.
Patience right now dancing around the middle line of Curious, making sure he tells him that he's aware that he mines some gas. Some Zergs actually, when they open, I guess not exactly like this, but similarly, instead of going for speed, they go for burrow and block that other base. But right now, Curious, not having started is natural, like he has to go for speed, I think.
Yeah, he certainly should. He's going to go try for that natural expansion. Probe a little bit late.
And Curious not mining any more gas behind this, so I think he knows that Patience is going to know, and this has a very low chance of success if he was to go for, say, something like a Bailing attack.
Yeah, he's just going to admit defeat there and say, okay, you caught me. I guess I can't get the job done.
Even though, to be honest, the pylon is almost always in the wall here in this situation.
Yeah, that's
He cancels speed, which I like. I think starting double hatch now and playing super economic, like Protoss gonna have to be paranoid. They're gonna get sentries first instead of anything else.
That's right, yeah. Get out that mothership core early as well. And a Zealot to block the ramp, just be super paranoid about what can happen. And even that probe just waiting for Lings to come up here.
I think soon Patience might be able to realize that there was no speed research, and he might be able to start picking up on exactly what's happening, which is Curious went into an economic, I guess, production here with the Lord drones.
Yeah. See when he wants to use that gas on maybe...
Patience has a lot of gas, by the way. He took his gases very early.
It kind of looks like maybe a Stargate sort of saving. Or
might just be a mistake, which...
Well, it could also be just sentries, like if he wants to get them out early. And we are going to see that Stargate after all.
That's why you're the best, man.
And look at this, he's going to scout it straight off the bat. Wow.
Curious scouting of the initial tech has been like the most spot on I've seen in a ZVP.
Yeah, well, you know, he just knows how careful he has to be against Patience as well.
Well, I mean, supposedly, Fantasy should have known how careful he had to be.
Yeah, he really should have, right? Like,
yet he really didn't scout much.
He really didn't scout. He died a lot to these all-ins. Look at this.
Oh, that's a cool position.
That's actually nice.
Sneaky.
Yeah. I'm guessing you're going to wait for a pylon there.
He starts +1. I wonder if he's going to get Phoenixes into 4-gate pressure, the old-school builds. Oracle, okay.
Again.
You can still drop down a few additional gateways and go for
gonna have
aggression.
a little peek and see. It's like, okay, I guess I'll make a spore at every base and be just fine. I guess the scary thing is that probe on the map, and Curious isn't really scouting around the map just yet with Lings.
He's not supposed to see it unless, he has some kind of crazy sixth sense and somehow checks for it in a second. Gateway is going to go down, supposedly at least 3 of them. Patience times this well with the +1 and warps in, say, to like 4 to 8 Zealots, walks them into the 3rd base.
Could just get it down.
Yeah. Could do a lot of damage.
No Roach One on the way just yet either. No safety Roach One, but we did see Curious throw that down last time, so I think he will be inclined to do it again.
Maybe he delays it a little bit.
Yeah. Perhaps because he has an idea of exactly what he's doing. Look at that.
Whoa, that was fast.
Yeah, that was fast. It's still a little bit of damage.
Not gonna try the no spore meta.
Wow, he's just really on point, but he's gonna lose the drones that are mining now. Still, only 2. That's not too bad for an Oracle harassment.
Still got quite a bit of energy, though.
Now it's going to be the lair going down. Still no Roach One. You want to throw that down soon if you...
Is there a pylon starting there?
No, there's one.
Oh, yes. And the gateways, they're about to finish. +1's going to finish real soon as well. How many units? If he warps in there, how many units does he wait though? That's the
I
question.
think 8 would be perfect if he wants to kill that hatchery. If he wants to do just a bit of drone damage, 4.
12 is too late for sure.
12 is too late.
The thing is, right now Curious sees that there's no attempt at a third base yet, and I think very soon he's going to be able to start realizing that there could be some kind of aggression out on the map. He didn't actually scout anything on the top right-hand side for like proxy pylons.
He's not making any army units either. There's still only 2 links in the
14
map.
links.
14 links. What are they going to do against +1 zealots? 8 of them at that.
They're not going to kill one of them.
Not even a single one. Not
That's
with
what they're not
oracles.
going to do.
That's exactly what they're not going to do. They're even killing a tumor right now. Zealots shouldn't be able to do that, but they've done it. Now they're going to start working on an Evo chamber. So they could be working on anything else. And here we go. That's a nasty fight. There's no way Lynx are going to get that done.
They can try to protect the queen all they want. They want hold position here for a second. And Oracle's actually going to help against these Lynx here, killing them very quickly at that base. The hatchery is being targeted down. Patience basically saying you need to be fighting against these Zealots because otherwise they're going to cut down your hatchery.
Yeah, exactly. And now a very awkward fight here for Curious. Losing 9 drones and so many Lynx coming out, but they're fighting +1 Zealots and Oracles.
1 Zealot. 1 single Zealot, 2 now.
Wow.
But so much damage has been dealt. 10 drones have died. A ton of Lynx as well. Behind this, we got a third base on the way here for Patience, +2 and Blink as well.
He is in such a commanding position. He's even going for this Evolution Chamber once again, just making sure no upgrades can go up for Curious. And Curious doesn't really have an answer for this. He's making a Hydra Den now.
Yeah. He might finally have enough Lynx to deal with this, but the damage has been dealt. It's 52 probes to 53 drones. And behind this, Curious is still getting Lynx. Robo's now going to be on the way. I think there's going to be enough gates for Patience to make enough units and defend against any kind of upcoming attack, and even maybe go for his own follow-up if he wants to.
Certainly, sir. I mean, when you got these 2 Oracles just recharging their energy at this point as well, and Zealot weapons are available if he needs them. He is so far ahead. We are seeing a lot of Hydras come out. I think we might just see Curious go for a big counterattack and try and deal with that third base and try fight his way back into this game.
I mean, at this point, Curious, what can he do? He's getting a lot of Hydralisks. Do you think he's getting desperate and he's just going to go for a timing? Like, pretty much like he did early on Iron Fortress to try and win?
I think that might be it. I think that might be his only option to this point after taking that much damage. Playing a macro game from here would be a little too hard, especially up against his Blink Stalker +2 style. But let's see what he gets done. He's got a lot of Lynx down there.
Yeah, mass Hydralisks and Zerglings. It seems to be the plan here. He's getting a Groove Spines first.
Yeah, you want to have that range just to deal with these force fields as well.
God, that is a lot of sentries, by the way.
That is a lot of sentries.
He's going to see that coming maybe with the Observer. And he can preemptively force field. Nope. Not quite just yet. The pylon might go down, but
still, it's not enough units here currently for Curious, and way too many force fields for him to really engage into either.
Dozy realized, though, that attacking here could be very difficult.
Well, look at this. Once again, 3 more Hydras getting shaved off. Gonna try to deal some damage to these sentries, but all the Lynx are gone now, too.
Oh, pretty cute little Blink here. Curious is still coming into this. He's getting muscular augments, more Lynx and more Hydralisks are being made. Doesn't look like he's gonna have enough, but he's still trying to fight this. Taking down a few sentries here and there.
Down goes the Mothership Core as well. A big Blink forward, and it's just enough for Stalkers to kind of deal with these Hydras. More Lynx streaming on in. Units are kind of getting smaller for Patience, but it's just not enough. GG.
Patience brings it back to 2-2 here in this best-of-5 series. He's not out of it just yet, Windblade.
Not out of it just yet. Great comeback there.
America. He's in the audience with Aryan back there.
Oh, nice. Well, Curious, you know, he did play that greedy style, and he also skipped on the roaches, and I think that's never a thing you should ever do against someone like Patience, who has that potential to throw down a pylon and just go for great gateway aggression.
I'm really surprised, actually, that he let this happen, because the initial scout was there, and I mean, you should know, especially when a Protoss has a forge early on like this, that there's always the potential for a +1. But it might be one of those things we talked about where, you know, you kind of forgot about what used to be the standard, because for the longest time, you know, Antigua Shipyard, like
oh man,
Phoenix Harassment, +1 Zealots.
Absolutely, yeah, it's such an old thing, but it can still kill you as a Zerg player. There's so many things that if you forget about, they will get you. Even a pylon in your base, Todd, that can kill you as well. And that's way back in the
Speaking
start.
from personal experience, yeah?
Not a long time ago. I mean, that would never work this day and age, but still. That was the age-old thing when everyone kind of forgot that pylons could be in your base and they can warp stuff in and kill you.
Yeah. But definitely a pretty cool play here by Patience. Like, I feel like it's been a pretty good series by him so far. In all of the games, even those that he lost, like he showed some very good things. Had obviously the very disappointing, Colossus production against Ultras, which
that
didn't do very well. But other than that, a lot of good moves from both players, not just scouting-wise, but adjusting throughout the entire games and series.
Yeah, certainly so. And players kind of forgetting things like that Roach Warren in the last game. It really just cost Curious everything. Like he just got way too far behind, and he didn't really scout for pylons at all.
Yeah,
and that's
there was
kind of
nothing on the top right. Not one overload, not one link, nothing.
There was still, fog of war there. Like he'd never been to the top right of the map. And I feel like that is one crucial thing you do against Patience more than anything else.
I think the thing is, though, since he went for a risky build that did absolutely nothing, because in the end he had to cancel link speed and didn't make too many links, that completely threw him off. And he probably thought, he was in that state of mind where he's like, well, I'm already behind because of the build order. I'm going to adjust and salvage the situation, try to go into an economic game.
Yeah.
I have to gamble a little bit.
Just cut corners a little bit.
Skip Roach Warren, get a lot of drones, and hope he doesn't attack. But
he did.
You can only hope for so much.
Yeah, that is the big problem. So like the final map is going to be Bridgehead as well. So we've had a bit of fun on this map.
Your favorite map, yeah?
I wouldn't say it's my favorite map, but it makes for interesting games, especially if the Zerg is thinking outside the box or the Protoss. With that backdoor, it creates a lot of interesting situations. The games with Hero come to mind as well. True versus Hero, there was a bit of fun there, especially on this map with mass meters.
Yeah, how do you like the new map pool personally, now that you had, I guess, the opportunity to play a bunch more?
I think it made it very interesting. It's really mixed things up, and I think
it's very different, right?
That's pretty important at this point to really start mixing things up with interesting maps, whether they be good or bad for certain races. It does make it a lot more of a interesting to spectate them.
Who do you think between Patience and Curious has a better shot in grand finals?
Oh, it's hard to say. Curious, he does have great ZVZ, and the other two on the other side of the bracket are Zerg, so it might be favoring him if he actually got to the finals. But I mean, Patience is looking great in this matchup too. He's very dangerous with all these all-ins and aggressive styles. So it's hard to say exactly who would prevail more.
See the map loading here on Patience's screen. He looked focused. He adjusted his glasses. It's on Moonglade.
He's ready for it. It's going to be an interesting map. I wonder what Patience has planned. But let's jump into the game. Game number 5 to determine who's going to make it to those finals. And now to the mid-left of the map, the red Protoss player. He is Patience.
Definitely showed some very good things already in this series, but he's going to need to continue here if he wants to advance.
That's right. And down here in the mid-right, we do have the Zerg player, Curious. Looking to try and make it for that ZVZ Grand Finals. Finals that everyone hopes happens. The dream, Todd.
Not for everybody. Curious, who, unless he takes damage early on in games, does very, very well. So again, definitely needs to be focusing on that. After the previous game, I'm pretty sure he's going to be scouting for proxy pylons. And just generally speaking, trying not to get surprised again by 8 zealots with +1.
Yeah, I certainly don't think he's going to be trying for that 13-13 early link speed this time around, especially on this kind of map. Much harder map to do anything on. And look at that block. It's already too hard to get up there.
What does he go for, though? Oh, he's sending... I see something on the top right-hand side here of the minimap.
Is he actually going to go for that? Will he actually consider going for that proxy hatchery?
He sent it all the way around.
Yeah, he's really delaying it. That's for sure.
He wants to make sure no probe sees it going there.
And it doesn't even look like Patience is going to look for it either. So this could be a really huge advantage for Curious. If he gets scouted out, things become very complicated. But there we go. He's going to throw down that proxy hatchery at the top. This could cause a lot of problems if Patience doesn't identify this early enough.
Patience is going for a gateway, no gas nexus here. He's going to be able to see that there's no pull in the main, no hatch in the natural. Kind of start to realize that something's happening. He's actually taking, oh yeah, what was that? Like he was standing in the corner here for a second.
Yeah, forgetting about that probe for just a second. He's going to go throw down that nexus by the looks of things. Oh.
Actually, does he change his build order? No, I don't think so.
Well,
even though he saw that the pull started after a hatchery started somewhere on the map.
He's actually making a zealot right now.
Oh, I think he realized. He might. Does he go for a nexus anyway?
It looks like it. There it goes. Wow. Okay. Well, let's see how this works out. I mean, with the zealot, it's going to help out a little bit. It's going to slow things down for this proxy hatchery to get anything done. But still, I think it might be an advantage Curious to this kind of build.
What is going on here? That hatchery is going to come out early enough that cannoning it should be out of the question, but he might still try anyway.
He's going to try by the looks of things. This might be a little too late, though. He sees the hatchery. Is he
He's going to get a wall on this side?
Maybe a cannonball here?
He was thinking, I think he wanted to do something like that, but now realizes that it's too late already, so he's going to send the Zealot across the map in Curious's base.
I guess he's just going to let that go.
That's going to be bad, to be honest. There's going to be Lynx and a Queen.
Yeah, that's not going to be enough. And one probe is going to slow down a spine crawler, but already 4 Lings on the map. It's going to run into a Zealot. And if they don't kill it, it's the Queen will.
Lings on the way now.
Going to start working on the rocks, I think.
Yeah. As soon as you take these rocks down, speed's going to be finished pretty much every single time, and then Lynx are going to start streaming, and it's almost impossible to have the entire area covered with a wall off.
Beautiful micro there with the Zealot. Going to destroy those 4 Lings. Another Zealot coming in too. I'm curious to see all this, so all he has to do is make Lynx from here to deal with them. Now these spine crawlers getting closer, start working on these rocks. And he's going to throw down a cannon on the other side here, but let's see how many he invests into. Like it's going to be multiple.
I mean, even getting cannons here, Lynx can run past them and walling off that entire zone. You better be damn rich if you want to try to do that.
Yeah, that's for sure. You're going to need a lot of minerals for that.
10 more Lynx on the way here. These rocks not going down that fast. Actually, Spine's being burrowed a little bit too far. They're not attacking that. That's going to delay it. Only one of them so far is attacking.
Yeah, I think he was paying attention to these 2 Zealots that did get wiped out in the end of all things. Another one coming. He's just going to keep applying the pressure with these Zealots. They're not really finding much.
Kind of hoping there will be no Lynx there, I guess, when this gets there.
Yeah, it looks like it. But more and more Lynx being made from Curious. Lynx speed finishing up as well. The rocks are about to go down. And it's about to get very ugly for Patience right now. Getting a little bit closer as well, actually.
Yeah, 3 cannons against 3 spines. A whole bunch of Lynx and a Queen as well. Curious getting ready to get in there. He's actually going around to try and breach the initial wall here, which is completely sealed off. I'm not sure why.
Oh, yeah, well, I guess there's only a sentry here, so maybe he can do something. He's going to work on this pylon.
Oh, Patience is not reacting. He needs to react quickly. Re-wall behind it.
Oh, where's that sentry? It's sitting in the main. He's going to let it go.
It's just going to stay there, I guess.
Lings are in. He's going to go for the surround and then force out the force fields at the very least. And this is one ugly situation.
Patience is waiting for as long as possible before he uses to force another charge. Here we go. Full surround here on these cannons. The spines are going to come in. He was going to attack the pylon at first, but then realizes that going for the cannons is also okay.
Yeah, either way, I guess maybe he's scared of the force fields actually blocking out that pylon. And now this Nexus is in huge trouble. One spine crawler working on it with all these Lings. Not even Photon Overcharge is going to save it in a very ugly situation for Patience.
And a Robo is starting, and I'm sure Arium right now is cheering in the audience.
Maybe just a little too late there.
It's inspired generations to come here on this map and in this situation.
I think maybe next time Patience will go for that 1 base Immortal. And down goes...
Might be too late, Moonbase.
Might be too late this time around, as the Spines are going to be beating down that Nexus in the main next.
In the 5th map out of all games.
It had to end like this, Todd.
There was no other possibility.
There was no other way. It had to be like this. And I guess Curious is giving some of that cheese back, right? He's giving a little taste of what the Zergs can do on this kind of map.
His own medicine here.
A little bit of his own medicine. I mean, maybe...
That's actually going all the way around.
Yeah, it's going to go the long route. It's going to try sneak past those...
Good luck.
Yeah, there's a lot to sneak past, actually. A lot of spines.
Going straight into Mordor.
Yep, literally. And Lings are going to try to find a way, and it's actually a bit of a hard situation right there. Nice little Sim City. A lot of sentries, and Immortal's going to be up before the spines get close enough.
Curious only on 18 walkers. If he doesn't kill Patience here,
there's that
and if 3 Immortals come out, Arium will be held at the genius of the century.
Yep, we'll actually give all credit to Arium. And look at this, the Immortal is actually starting to work on these spines. Half of them, well, 2 of them are on half health.
Oh, can he get a second one? 2 spines are attacking the Robo right now. I don't think so, even with Chrono Boost here.
No,
Photon Overcharge is not up yet. That's the problem.
And the force field actually blocking out the Immortal from doing damage to these. Another couple of actually really effective force fields.
He's trying to buy some time, but Curious fully picked up on the fact that the second Immortal shouldn't be coming out. Got the kill there.
Getting closer and closer. I mean, that one Immortal can do some work on these spines, and once again, he's going to try for it. Running out of force fields now, though.
Oh, Patience is He's actually the first Protoss ever, I think, that I've seen doing so much of attacking and then pulling back to pull the opponent out of position. Usually Protoss is much more so attack move and then you kind of watch the fight.
Yeah, that's a lot of that, that's for sure.
You force field, you storm, you guardian shield, but usually you don't pull back, and he's been doing that a lot.
Yeah, he's got to stay on his toes. And look at that, 3 more spine crawlers just came down. He's going to actually start pulling the probes to do some damage here. Start trying to tank for this Immortal, but now the Immortal's stuck at the back. All the sentries nearly have gone down. 3 left over, but they're out of energy.
Yeah. I'm not sure why he whopped in Stalkers here. I don't think it's a very good choice. Cancelling the gateway so that he can escape.
Oh,
down
no.
to very few probes. He's on 13 probes against 16 drones.
And now, there's no more photon overcharge. There's no more mothership either. This is a horrible situation. The spine crawler is actually in range of the Nexus. It's only a matter of time.
That's when Immortal needs to be the hero.
He needs to be the hero of this game.
If he had gotten the second
He's going to go for the surround.
That's robo placement, man.
Yeah, robo placement.
That's the liquid mana robo placement. When it's like this and it dies.
That must
Man,
be
I'm
it.
firing so many shots. This guy's gonna hate me.
Oh, no, you're fine. Look at this. He's got to be so careful.
Oh!
The Immortal cannot be surrounded. If he loses this Immortal, he loses the game.
Force fields. He's waiting so long.
He's investing so many lings into
Can
trying
that
to killing
spine
it.
shoot at it?
I think so. I think it might be in range.
Oh, it is.
It is. And now
Escape.
it's in a lot of trouble. The
Oh my God.
Spine's giving some back here.
His own force fields playing against him.
Oh man, 12 HP left.
I mean, 4 spines is too much though. Like, it's gonna be super hard. He's
Lings
gonna have
are
to
looking for
re-engage.
it.
The Immortal's gonna go down.
Oh, Lings get it. Now he's going to start working on these sentries and not much left at all for Patience.
The Mothership Core died, right?
Emotion did die.
This
so
is.
that's
if he had
actually,
another photon overcharge.
yeah, he could have maybe come back from this, right? And now look at this. Once enough Lings are out, he's just going to go for the surround. It might be now. Oh man, not much left over. Not many Lings left over though. He's got to be careful.
Time is running out for Patience as 2 of the spines are attacking his Nexus continuously here. Starting to be really on hit points. He's whopping in one more. Zealous trying to catch some of the reinforcements. He's gonna have to engage into the spines.
GG.
Calls GG and Curious. He will advance on here to the grand finals.
Absolutely insane final game there. Getting that proxy hatchery down without Patience expecting it at all. And we are going to see that ZVZ grand final, Todd.
Knocks
Very
out the
nicely
last
done.
non-Zerg here.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one.
There you
Zergo
go.
P. All right.
There you go.
Zergo P. I'll agree to it. Especially on that map, if they get that hatchery down. So very well played there. Let's get that interview done with Smix. Over to you, Smix.
Thank you very much. We have our first grand finalist here at DreamHack Valencia in Curious. Curious, that was such a crazy series. It went to a 3-2, so much action back and forth. And yet throughout that series, I couldn't help but notice that you didn't seem nervous the entire time. Were you really that collected, calm and collected, or were there any nerves that we just didn't notice at all? 일단 그 결승 진출 축하드리고요. 경기를 보면서 이원표 선수가 긴장 안 하는 것 같았어요. 경기들 이제 2대2 됐을 때도 경기를 졌을 때도 표정이 안 변했어요. 진짜 긴장 안 했는지 아니면 솔직히 좀 긴장하고 있었는지.
사실 처음에는 조금 긴장이 좀 됐었는데요. 막상 게임에 들어가니까 마음이 되게 편안해졌어요. 예전에 그 GSL에서도 4강에서 2번 떨어진 적이 있었는데 그때도 너무 간절하다는 게 너무 지나쳐가지고 좀 잘 안 된 것 같아서 이번에는 마음을 편하게 먹었더니 긴장이 좀 덜 되고 그랬던 것 같아요.
So Curious says, definitely before the matches, I did feel a little bit nervous, but I actually have experience playing in the top 4 because I reached the top 4 in the GSL twice before. And what I remember from that experience is that I just remember feeling incredibly desperate when I was in the top 4 in the GSL. And then this time I thought to myself, okay, I don't want to have that same sort of desperate feeling because that made me nervous and I wasn't able to perform as well. So today I told myself to really calm down. And I think that's why I was able to do so well here and ultimately win. And Curious, I want to talk about that last game because you chose to go for an all-in in a 2-2 situation, which a lot of people in your situation may not have done just because of nerves and issues like this. Why did you choose to go for that strategy? 일단 그 2대2 상황에서 그 5번째 경기에서 그 올인을 선택을 하셨는데 솔직히 그 상황에서 다른 선수는 긴장 때문에 뭐 그런 선택을 안 했어도 됐는데 했잖아요. 근데 어떻게 그런 선택을 하셨는지?
제가 사실 이렇게 다전제를 했을 때 이렇게 뭐 서로 떨리고 긴장 많이 되고 그런 상황에서 승부수를 띄워본 적이 없던 것 같더라고요. 근데 맵도 때마침 잘 맞아줬고 앞선 세 판에 운영을 하고 제가 4세트에서 좀 허무하게 졌는데 그래서 제가 했던 빌드들을 생각해 보니까 상대 선수가 예상을 못할 것 같아서 고민하다가 자신감 있게 바로 사용했어요, 그냥.
So he says, when I've played in these best of series before, I remember just feeling a lot of nerves, and I never made that sort of risk before. But when I was looking back at the choices I made in terms of strategy, in the first 3 maps I went for macro-oriented games, and in the 4th set I felt like I had lost so disappointingly. So in the 5th set I decided to just gather my courage and go for a risky strategy, and it paid off in the end because now you are in the grand finals, and you have never been in the grand finals of a tournament before. I can't help but feel like, I mean, what is going through your head right now? It must feel absolutely amazing. 일단 이제 결승 진출을 하셨잖아요. 이번이 처음이에요. 그래서 약간 무슨 기분이 드는지 좀 설명해 주세요.
제가 여태까지 참 결승 가고 싶어서 게임을 열심히 했었는데 올라가면 사실 결승에 올라간다는 것 자체만으로도 되게 기분이 좋을 줄 알았는데 이게 또 사람이라는 게 결승에 올라가면은 또 우승을 하고 싶고 그렇게 좀 더 욕심이 나서 우승을 이번에 꼭 한번 해보고 싶어요.
So he says, as a professional gamer, this is what we practice so hard for, to reach the finals. But it's funny, this is my first time in a finals, and I thought that just reaching the finals in and of itself, I would be satisfied. But now that I've reached the finals, I feel super greedy. I want to win too. So now that I've actually reached the grand finals, I want to seize this opportunity and really take this chance to become a champion. So we'll see if you're able to do that or not. Congratulations again on making it to the grand finals here at DreamHack Valencia. We have one semi-final match left to see who will join Curious. We'll come back with a short commercial break after this.